The second coming of the legendary Tiguan, which managed to become ours, took place at the Frankfurt Motor Show in the fall of 2015. A year later, the production of cars for the Russian market was established near Kaluga. Live crossovers went on sale in early 2017. Under the hood of the Russian Tiguan, you can find petrol engines of 1.4 liters, 125 and 150 horsepower, and 2.0 liters, 180 and 220 horsepower, as well as a 2-liter turbo diesel with a capacity of 150 horses. Transmissions: 6-speed manual, 6-speed and 7-speed dual-clutch automatic transmissions. The car is available with both front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive. Whatever assembly, German or Kaluga, you get a car, the resistance of its body to corrosion will be a priori high. Of course, provided that the car was not handicraft restored after an accident. Although, in fairness, it can be noted that some jams appeared on the first domestic-made cars, such as uneven gaps between some body panels. True, they were so insignificant that they were not immediately evident. In any case, copies of the Kaluga assembly do not differ in quality from cars made in their historical homeland. But in our market, Tiguans do not have systems such as adaptive cruise control, where the autopilot keeps the car in the lane, within the road markings, as well as the function of opening the trunk with the foot movement under the rear bumper. The Germans considered that all these charms would not work correctly for us. Maybe they are right, but with the effectiveness of soundproofing, the developers clearly miscalculated. Far from all domestic Tiguan owners are satisfied with the regular Shumka. Although for me it's nothing at all. In general, they usually order additional processing of wheel arches, and some Sybarites operate in full with insulation of the floor and trunk, fenders, doors, and hood. Fortunately, such a service costs only 35,000 rubles in specialized workshops. However, additional Shumka will not save chrome parts of the external decor from road reagents. They may become cloudy after the first Russian winter. True, dealers always meet the needs of their customers and change body parts that have lost their gloss under warranty for free, as well as a heated windshield, which initially does not differ in strength and is quickly rubbed with brushes. But all the engines are generally reliable, although they are not deprived of technical delicacies. They are all turbocharged and direct fuel injection. The base engine with a volume of 1.4 liters, 125 forces, is combined exclusively with a mechanical 6-speed gearbox and is placed only on the front-wheel drive version. True, there are very few such modifications on the market. Although this 4 has already managed to recover from childhood illnesses and is considered reliable. True, she still has a turbocharger and a fuel pump at risk, and she is extremely picky about the quality of fuel and engine oil. The 150 horsepower unit also did not have the most rosy past. Rings and pistons were changed on it under warranty. The program of the engine control unit was repeatedly reflashed. Today, this motor is considered practically trouble-free, if you do not take into account the fact that some of them consume excessive oil. But here's what's interesting. If some owners complain about increased oil appetite, then others assure that from replacement to replacement, the level of liquid lubricant remains at the same level. Here, as luck would have it. Moreover, the Germans consider consumption up to 150 to 200 grams per 1,000 kilometers to be an acceptable norm, seen in an addiction to increased oil appetite and 2-liter gasoline Turbo 4. And again, not all, some owners do not even carry a can of liquid lubricant with them, despite the fact that after a series of upgrades of the control electronics, the engines became quite reliable. On the second Tiguan they again became infected with another ailment. These are defective camshafts. If the engine is cold, call the dealer and get in line to replace the defective part. On warranty machines, the shafts were changed, of course, free of charge. The problem is massive and the Germans are already closely engaged in solving it. A 2-liter diesel engine is simply a bulwark of reliability. It has been produced for more than a dozen years and has proven itself to be a truly condo unit. With proper maintenance and the use of quality fluids, it will last up to 400,000 to 500,000 kilometers. There were cases when these motors nursed 800,000 kilometers and at the same time continued to work properly. True, during this time it will be necessary to change at least the injection nozzles and glow plugs, as well as the turbine and fuel pump. The 6-speed manual transmission is similarly durable. It's a pity it's not often found on used Tiguans. In the manual gearbox, you should only change the oil every 90,000 kilometers, although the manufacturer assures that the transmission is filled there for the entire life of the unit. But in 7-speed dual dry clutch robots, it is recommended to update the oil after 40 to 70,000 kilometers. These boxes have already become a parable of the Volkswagen concern and were leaders in the frequency of breakdowns. Although recently robots have become more durable, they have been used in the concern's program for more than 12 years and are constantly being upgraded. Moreover, if some owners complain about jerking in the box already at 10 to 30,000 kilometers, then others drive the DSG-7 without problems for more than 150 to 200. After the latest firmware and improvements, the clutch package and mechatronics were guaranteed to nurse 100,000 kilometers. The main condition for the longevity of these transmissions is regular oil changes and normal vehicle operation. In preparing the material, the author of these lines had to shovel all the reviews about the Tiguan. So, I did not meet any criticism of the DSG. Maybe the time has not come out yet. The cars are still too young and do not yet have full statistics. Or maybe the robot has become very reliable. Wait and see. But a 6-speed dual-clutch box operating in an oil bath has proven to be more reliable, and its resource reaches 300 to 400,000 kilometers. These robots are combined only with the most powerful motors, the torque of which exceeds 300 Newton meters. However, when buying a used Tiguan with such a transmission, do not spare the money for diagnostics. At the same time, we also recommend checking the all-wheel drive transmission. However, the 5th generation Haldex coupling is very durable. Maintenance comes down to changing the oil after 40 to 60,000 kilometers along with the transfer case and gearboxes. In the independent suspension, there is nothing special to break. The time has not yet come. We only note overly delicate brake discs that wear out ahead of their due date. They do not always reach the second replacement of the pads. And further, not a chaser for big wheels, in the literal sense of the word. The fact is that the suspension of the crossover is stiff, and on 19 or 20-inch rollers the car becomes completely furious. Therefore, many owners change shock absorbers to others with softer and more comfortable settings. If everything is clear with the chassis, if it's tough, we put softer shock absorbers, then the electrician lives her one understandable life. It happens that for no reason at all, the multimedia will start to fail, the door locks will unlock on the go, the parking sensor will work. And just as suddenly everything can stop, as it began. Usually it is enough to restart the engine or remove the negative terminal from the battery. However, dealers without further ado repair or change problematic elements and assemblies under warranty. In general, it must be admitted that the 2nd generation of the Volkswagen Tiguan has lost most of the congenital ailments of its predecessor, and the infamous DSG robotic boxes have recently become much more reliable and can easily nurse up to 150,000 kilometers or more. Therefore, such versions of the Tiguan can be considered as a purchase. If you want to minimize the risk, look for a modification with a manual gearbox. However, in this case it will only be front-wheel drive.